Hello and welcome once again to Power Up Positivity. I actually made it to 10 episodes somehow. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea to make a 10 episodes of this, but why not? Anyways, a 10th person, a 10th wonderful guest uh, agreed to come on this show. How about introduce yourself, good sir?
I'm doing pretty well. Things are going nicely. I'm feeling good. I got my coffee in front of me, and yeah, I'm ready for a good chat.
Mr. SouthPawRacer, ready for a good chat. Alright, so the thing, or at least I know you most for, is for being a sim racer. So, how did that start? How did you become interested in sim racing?
It started with at the end of 2005. My brother and I got our first gaming console, which was a PlayStation 2 that came bundled with Ratchet and Clank 3 and Gran Turismo 3. And I was semi interested, driving the cars and whatever and all that. I thought it was cool that the graphics were realistic and stuff like that. But I think I really got interested in it when an old schoolmate of mine came over one day and showed me exactly how to modify the cars. And so that sort of opened up the game for me. I got into it a bit more. I realized how everything worked. And eventually I realized that I could actually tell car brands and models apart from each other on the road for the first time. And so I got more and more and more into Gran Turismo. I collected a few more racing games, and then I found out about GTR 2 by Simbin. And, that sort of triggered my desire for a more realistic racing experience. And so my PC sim racing journey started with Race 07.
And what a way to start! That I actually got that game from an old Top Gear magazine. That they offered
Mm,
like the Steam codes for that and a couple other racers. Um, all right.
yeah, it's
Tangent
fantastic, Race
aside,
07.
yeah, great game. How did that turn into making internet content?
Well, I suppose like the real crux of it was my injury, right? I'm called SouthPawRacer because Southpaw left-handed. I only have the full use of my left arm and hand. But I'm still able to drive on Sims. Eventually, as I got more into online racing and got more involved with communities, I started telling people about it, and the a lot of the people I told were honestly shocked at the fact that I could compete with just one hand on the wheel. And I believe that the first video I ever uploaded on my channel was literally just a video of me doing a lap around Kyalami in R Factor 1 with the Grand Prix 79 mod. And I got my mum to stand behind me and film me doing a lap. And yeah, eventually I uploaded that to YouTube. That was the first video on my channel, and I started doing a little bit more stuff. I just uploaded hot lap videos, really showing me driving with one hand and showing the pace that I could extract despite the disability. And it just ballooned from there. Eventually, I transitioned into doing more sort of original, semi-scripted content, and that just became what I am today.
I, I, I actually had no idea that you only had full use of your right hand and arm, left hand and arm.
Left. Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like I
I
never
think
would
it's
have
something
guessed.
that's I think it's something that's not immediately obvious when you see me. But yeah, that it's the whole reason my online pseudonym is what it is.
Actually, I'm trying to think if there was any point where I could have figured it out, like from watching either your videos. Like I only watch like later stuff, like super track, like serious track guide and whatnot, or
Mm.
but the like for example, when I when you won that championship Aerotech had put together,
Ah, yeah, V8 Super Rick, yeah.
I remember you celebrating by drinking a beer. I don't remember the brand,
Mm.
but
VB long neck at 20 to 8 in the morning
I think
for the memes.
you like used your left hand to to grab it and drink it, but at the time I only thought, okay, he's left-handed.
Yeah,
I didn't
I
think any
suppose
more of it.
I suppose if you look closely, you'll realize that my right hand never actually does anything. It just sits down there, like sort of out of my webcam frame when I'm streaming. And every time I go through a left turn, you'll also notice that there is no second hand on the wheel.
Well, it's probably I didn't notice because I'm not a sim racer myself. Like I never really got into that into never got a wheel and pedals and that kind of stuff. So maybe that's because I didn't know. That's the reason I didn't notice.
Yeah, I suppose it all depends on the person, really. Like I've sometimes when I uploaded like race report style videos of my races in various leagues, um I would get a couple of comments questioning why there was only one hand on the wheel. There was and I think I got a couple of comments of people just sort of incredulous at it, like why would you drive with one hand? Isn't that dangerous or whatever? And I had to explain, like, I don't have a choice in the matter. It's a physical condition that I have.
Well, at least from where I'm sitting, it doesn't look like it slowed you down at all.
Yeah, I I don't know, when people ask me, like, how are you so fast with just one hand on the wheel, I'm like, I don't know, I just do it. And I suppose that's true for life in general. When I have people ask me, like, how do you cope with day-to-day life with one arm? I just have to say, I've never really thought about it. I've never known any different. I just do what I do, and that's it.
Wow. Um, to go into the next question, I mentioned this show. Think I'll call it. How did you come up with the idea of the super serious track guides?
The super serious track guides sort of started as an outlet for my anger. Because that I the first sort of comedic, quote unquote, content that I did on my channel was Reese Sucks at Richard Burns Rally, where it's literally just me driving Richard Burns Rally and failing miserably at being a virtual rally driver. Because I got Richard Burns Rally. I started messing around in it, and I realized this is actually a lot more difficult than I realized. And I always had problems with even getting to the end of stages, and I would just make exclamations to myself, like, "No, damn it, ah, blah, blah, blah," swearing and whatever. And I figured I could turn this into something that might entertain people. And so Reese Sucks at Richard Burns Rally went on for a little bit. And there was one particular stage that really caught my ire, which was Bergheim. I just what really jumped out to me with that stage was the I suppose the lack of warning for various hazards, especially with Richard Burns Rally's default pace notes system. And I decided, I'll just turn this into a track guide video, and but sort of like a parody of track guides. Like you'd usually see in a real life motorsport broadcast, the track guide and the commentators would narrate a full lap around the circuit, describe what the driver is doing, what gear they're taking corners in, what you got to look out for at various points on the circuit. And I decided to take that and sort of twist it to be like more from the perspective of someone who's just really frustrated with the track and doesn't really have the skill to negotiate it. So yeah, I posted up the Bergheim video. That got some really good reactions. Obviously, watching it now, it's not my greatest content. I was obviously still starting out, but yeah, eventually I moved on to doing actual racetracks instead of rally stages. And I believe it was Virginia International Raceway that was the first sort of real
Yeah,
super
it was.
serious track guide. Yeah.
It's
And
episode 2 of
yeah.
that.
So yeah, that's basically the story.
Uh, do you have a favorite video of yours? Like, because it worked
um
out really well, or the reception was really good, or something else?
I think I have a couple of favorite videos. When it comes to super serious track guides, my favorite ones are Shanghai and Yas Marina, because they were the ones that got the most sort of real exposure. They were my first time doing like modern Formula One circuits, and ex Matty G, Matt Gallagher, who at the time he was an F1 2010 or Codemasters F1 games YouTuber. He's now the co-host of P1 with Matt and Tommy, that F1 podcast, and he was one of the main people behind WTF1 for a while. He actually shared the video on his social media, and that got it a ton of both of those videos a ton of views. And I think I'm happy with those because they were they were well written. They were properly, the jokes I was happy with. And I think they were sort of the first time I really nailed my sort of editing style, so to speak. So yeah, Shanghai and Yas Marina, they're my favorite super serious track guides that I've done. And when it comes to all my other content, I think my favorite video that I've done so far is actually the second most recent real video I've done that isn't a Max Vance trailer. It's the Zandvoort history video, because that's something that I've wanted to do for a while, is sort of mini documentary style content on the history of racetracks, and how they came to be what they are today, sort of like a racingcircuits.info page, but presented in a visually entertaining and sort of storytelling kind of way. And that was the first video that I'd uploaded after I'd went through a very bad time in my life where I hadn't uploaded any videos for a long time. And seeing the reactions in the comments saying, "Oh, he's back. This is so great, Reese. It's really good to see you back. This is a fantastic video." And also just feeling like I nailed the documentary aspect of it. Yeah, it has a special place for me.
In general, I love how the community isn't shy about telling people that they're appreciated.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry if you're hearing meows in the background. My cat Felix loves to be part of every conversation I'm a part of. Um, yeah, it's always good to see the amount of support out there, because for a very long time especially after the somewhat the sort of cell of negative reaction that I got for a few of my How to Ruin a Racetrack videos. It sort of cast doubt for me on like how the community would receive my videos, and I think my faith was restored just seeing how many people were so happy to see me back and to see that kind of content from me.
Well, you can include me in that one. Do you have a favorite joke of yours,
Um.
like that you
Oh
made?
man, I think I've it's hard for me to really pick one because they all sort of blend into one, and I'd really have to think back like a long time ago. Um, I I like uh the in the Yas Marina video when I'm going on a mini rant about the hotel over the circuit, and concludes with a harmonized sort of Gregorian monk chant of tourism. That was the first sort of joke I did that really made me laugh, you know. And if it makes me laugh, then it's probably going to make other people laugh as well. So yeah, I'm a fan of the sort of random YouTube poop style of humor. And I have an appreciation for intelligent humor as well. But yeah, I'm a guy who grew up on sort of early YouTube, um, Robot Chicken, Stick Figures on Crack, those sorts of shows, and yeah, I think that's translated a bit into the humor that I tend to carry forward.
No wonder I enjoy it. um, I actually find the joke that you mentioned. I actually find that doubly funny for me because I actually have the family member who works in tourism. So
Oh yeah.
to me that it double. But it's but I actually have my own favorite joke of yours.
What's
Um,
that?
I don't remember the actual episode, but is when you is the it's the Captain Champ car joke.
Oh yes, that was the Gateway Road Course one. Yeah. When I'm going through the final corner, which is the oval after the absolutely mid road course. And yeah, now I can be Paul Tracy and Juan Pablo Montoya and blah blah blah. With your powers combined, I am Captain Chapka. Yeah. Oh God. I completely forgot about that one. I think I'd put that one up there as well.
Like, and then you proceeded to crash into the wall.
Yes. Yes.
to be
I love I
fair,
the,
it's lore accurate to Paul Tracy.
yes. Yes it is.
uh,
Oh dear.
to now kind of flip the coin a little bit. Do you have a least favorite video or video that didn't quite come together in the way that you wanted?
Oh, I'd lump every single How to Ruin a Racetrack in that. Because I mean, there were a lot of people that liked those videos, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But yeah, I think it's a combination of some of the negative comments I received on those videos, and also looking back on those videos and realizing I was actually in a pretty bad place when those videos were made. It was and I don't know. I had a goal in mind when making those videos. I had like uh what do you call it? Like a plan, so to speak, for the kind of message that I wanted to portray. It's I guess the original aim of those videos was to show that while people might criticize modern racetracks, they could always be worse, and I'll show you how they could be worse. But I think the way it came across was that the message was just kind of lost. And so, yeah, I think the How to Ruin a Racetrack videos are the only videos that I really like regret making.
Do you think you could have done a better job now, or is it like a
Uh
concept that in of itself just doesn't lend to a good video?
I think it's the second one. You know, if you ask me if I'd rather do them over, I'd be like, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do them over. I'd just delete them from the internet. I'd delete them from everybody's minds as if they never existed. And yet, this is the inherent hypocrisy of a creator, right? The videos are still up because I mean, they got a ton of views, and I earned a lot of ad revenue from them. So you know, it's a sort of weird balance for me between like, do I want to keep these up and have that be the first taste that people get of my channel, or do I follow those extra few dollars of ad revenue every month? You know.
I'd say maybe if you really think they're truly bad, I'd say put a disclaimer. But
Yeah,
but
maybe.
but hey, it's I mean ultimately it's your call.
Yeah, but you know, this is another thing that I think about a lot is, you know, like I'm a media student, so or I have been a student of media in the past, and so the death of the author theory is something that's always on my mind. The idea that it doesn't matter what the creator's intentions are, whether it be a movie or a book or a YouTube video or even just a meme that you find on Reddit or whatever. It the intentions of the creator of a piece of media do not matter once that piece of media is released into the world, and then it becomes the property of the people who consume it. And their opinions ultimately matter more. So you know, I occasionally get people telling me, "Oh, I really liked those How to Ruin a Racetrack videos. I thought they were funny," and I think that in itself is enough reason for me to keep them up because, like, everyone's gonna like something, right?
Yeah, I mean everyone's different, and to be honest, I don't remember disliking them either. Even though it's been a while since I've watched them.
Yeah, yeah. I think sometimes I just get a bit too much inside my own head when I'm thinking about my past content, and I just need to let them go. Just let them go into the ether, and whatever will be will be.
Yeah, exactly. I've said this a couple times during these interviews, but I actually had done interviews a few years ago as well. Though I deleted those precisely because I kept, ah, no, this wasn't that good. No, this isn't good. I was going through a bad time in my life, and I just decided, no, 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 this has to go.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just for reference, just to give you an idea, I had an interview with the original voice actor of Silver the Hedgehog,
Oh, yeah, righto.
and I
That's
deleted
a
that.
man.
Yep.
See and see this is that exact thing that I was talking about in action, right? Because you personally believe that piece of content is not really representative of you, or it represents something something not nice for you. But the moment I heard that, I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I'd love to hear what they have to say. But I suppose that happens all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now the only evidence that that video ever existed is a tweet from the person, like, "Hey, I was interviewed by X person. Here's the link." A link that leads to nothing
Mm,
nowadays. Oh well.
yeah.
But yeah, I just thought to give an example of relating to what you were talking about.
Yeah, of course. It's a good example. I think anyone who creates any kind of content can empathize with that. There's always something that you've done that's out there that you don't feel the best about.
Yeah. Um, Thankfully, I'm being better about it nowadays. And from what you said, it seems like you're in a better place yourself.
Yeah, I think I am. I mean, like the video is still up on my channel. Throwing 2022 in the bin is the title, where I talk about some of the things that I had been through in 2022, and yeah, I think that was my lowest point. The like I think my all up, I think I've had a pretty stressful life in just in general. But yeah, 2022 was especially bad, and I think that was sort of rock bottom for me, and things could only get better from there, right? And I think I've been offered a lot of opportunities in the past couple of years, and I've extended my commentary and broadcasting side of what I do. I'm actually making some proper money from it now, which is nice. And I think my life is in a pretty good place right now as well. Um, I finally gotten my studio rebuilt, and I'm working away on new videos, a new racetrack history video, a new super serious track guide, two of them actually, and a bunch of other stuff up on the whiteboard that I want to get to when I'm able to. It's just a case of negotiating the chaos of life, really. But I'm more at peace with that chaos now.
That's good to hear. Is there any video or any concept for a video that you you thought that would end up being good, but you never ended up following up with? Like you never ended up actually making it all the way?
I think, well, uh, there, there's there's a few things that I want to do. I wouldn't say that there's any videos that I've come up with but have never done and probably never will. Uh, but there's certain things that I've thought would be really entertaining, and I just haven't gotten anywhere with them yet. Like there's a concept that I had, um, just as a sort of a comment or a, I don't know, a feature on the Korean Formula One circuit in Yongam, because that circuit was designed as a hybrid street and permanent racetrack. And I thought, what if I used city skylines to recreate the original plan of the circuit? And that's still something that I might do at some point, but yeah, other things are taking priority at the moment.
I was going to say if not if you don't if you don't do it as an edited video, why not make a stream out of it? Like a relaxing
Yeah,
stream kind of thing.
yeah, potentially. Yeah, a stream is always an option, but yeah, I don't know. I find the way my mind works, I tend to I tend to think of an idea and then I put it away because there's other stuff that I have to get to in the moment, be it stuff in my personal life or other commitments warrants professional commitments, I suppose.
Understandable. Personally, when I come up with an idea, I had to write it down somewhere. Or I'll forget about it completely.
Yeah.
Like dust in wind. What was I thinking about?
Yeah, exactly. I've had that a couple of times with actually with jokes for super serious track guides as well. I mean, I have a document where I type down random joke ideas, and most of the stuff that I think of just out of the blue ends up in that document and eventually makes it into a video. But there's also been quite a few occasions where I've thought of a joke. I've thought, oh God, that's really funny. I need to find an application for that. And then I've just completely forgotten about it. So write your stuff down.
Yeah. Anyone trying to come up with ideas for videos? That's the best tip you can get.
Write it down.
Uh, um. All right. Um. Now I'm thinking. Like I've said in previous videos, I essentially spitball all the questions. So again, it always comes a bit of a time. Oh, what do I ask now? Hmm. um. Again, these interviews aren't ultra serious to begin with. It's just a nice time with someone whose content I enjoy and get to know them a bit better.
Yeah, it's nice.
Um, what is your favorite kind of car to drive in a sim?
Um, Prototypes. The particularly um, like mid late 2000s LMP1s and LMP2s. The HPD ARX01C on iRacing is the car that I have the most mileage in, and I absolutely adore prototypes of all kinds. I want to do more GTP stuff on iRacing, but yeah, largely the it sort of really started with the endurance series mod in R Factor 1. I loved driving the Audi R10 and the Peugeot 908 and the Porsche RS Spider in LMP2. Those are my favorite kinds of race cars. Obviously I started in Race '07, which is the official game of the FIA World Touring Car Championship. And at that time, the World Touring Car Championship used the Super 2000 regulations. I have a soft spot for 2 liter touring cars. I love the Super Touring era. That's one of my favorite eras of racing. And I like to do TCR whenever I get the chance. Right now, I'm really enjoying the Ford Mustang FR500S in iRacing as well. If you can't tell, iRacing is my main sim. But I do a ton of stuff on R Factor 2 as well. I love the 1954 sports cars mod for R Factor 2, which is actually the basis for the Carrera Mundial Championship that I'm competing in at towards the end of the year.
There's literally mods for any racing car you can think of nowadays.
Yep, yep, correct. And that's exactly why I love sim racing, especially the more open simulators like R Factor and Assetto Corsa, because you have people creating often super high quality stuff that is a great simulation of a race car of the past.
Yeah, truly. And do you have what cars do you like? I don't want to drive this. Why do I have to do
Uh,
this?
No, I don't think so, because like the real beauty of sim racing is you can pick and choose what you want to drive. If there's no such thing as I have to drive this car, unless of course you're a professional sim racer, which I'm nowhere near. And you know you have certain contract stipulations or whatever. You have to compete in X championship, and we're selecting this car, whatever. But I suppose if you're asking if there's any cars that I sort of try to avoid, I guess GT3. I know that GT3 is the most popular category in the motor racing world in general, and also in sim racing. Like GT3 just dominates on iRacing and Assetto Corsa Competizione and stuff like that. But I just don't gel with the cars, you know? I don't mind how they drive, but I can't drive them at the pace that a lot of people can. And it's hard for me to sort of find the limit with those cars. Like I've never really felt I've never really had a session where I've done a lap and I've been like, oh wow, that that was a good lap. And then I always look at the timing sheets and I realize I'm like 2 seconds off the fastest guys, when usually I should be about a second off. And I just think, ugh. So yeah, GT3, not a huge fan. And this is probably going to be this will probably be shocking to some because I am Australian, but I don't actually enjoy driving V8 supercars on Sims either.
What?
Because yeah, because I don't know. It's just I just don't feel happy with myself the way that I drive them. I try my best to get better at them, and if I need to do a lap for a video or something like that, then yeah, I'll do it. But yeah, I don't know. Especially the more modern ones, they just tend to be a bit too snappy and a bit too hard for me to control, and I always find it difficult to be consistent in them. The legacy V8 supercars that we drove in V8 Super Rick are a bit of a different story. They're a bit easier to drive. They're not as they're not as volatile, I suppose you could say.
All right. I really wasn't expecting that last one.
Yeah, I mean, I when Aero announced V8 Super Rick, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go because it's just a fun league with some friends and whatever, and it was an enjoyable, fun time, and I found I could extract some great pace from the car in that series relative to the rest of the field, and yeah, like you say, I ended up winning the championship, so I was very happy with that. But yeah, by and large, I prefer commentating supercar racing rather than actually driving.
In that championship, did you expect to be there or thereabouts, or did you think, I'm gonna just collect a few points, see where I am, see what
I didn't
happens?
come in with any expectations, honestly. I mean, I was one of only a few Australians in that field, and Joe Mugford, who has a lot more track time in V8 supercars than me. Uh, it's a shame that Joe wasn't able to make all the rounds because I think if he had, then he would have been the champion for sure. Um, yeah, I don't know. I expected to be quick because I'm Australian. I have a genetic predisposition to driving powerful V8 rear-wheel drive cars. But yeah, I don't know. It came as a very pleasant surprise to be a contender.
And to bring the trophy home in a way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Couldn't let those dang Canadians and Americans get away with it.
Uh, it Talking to you is wonderful. Like every other guest I had, although though not as chaotic as having the entirety of Team Rick here.
Oh
The,
God, yeah. I
s-
you have my sympathies having a wrangle for people.
I'm just gonna say this little tidbit about that video. It starts with everyone, including myself, laughing about an edit that they did of a Rhino GT4.
Right, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just
I
how
love
it
the Team Ring
starts.
guys. I love them. They're great people.
Uh, um, is there anything you want to um, that you have in the future that you want to talk? Maybe plug something.
Um, well, I don't know. I suppose I'm just plodding along really. Um, that's been my modus operandi basically the whole time. Just trudge along and steadily work on stuff as you go. And when you release something, that's when it's done, right? Um, I think if I were to plug anything, I would say that yes, I am working on new videos. It's been a while since I've released one, but I'm happy with where I'm at so far with the videos that I'm currently working on. I have of course, a video on the history of Silverstone, and I have super serious track guides for Autodromo Miguel y Abed, Puebla, Mexico, and Adria in Italy that I'm currently working on. So those are going to be my next three main pieces of content, unless there's something else that comes up that I'd like to make a video on. Other than that, there's my Twitch. I'm SouthPawRacer on Twitch, and I don't really have a stream schedule, so to speak. But I try to get on every Tuesday night and do some train simulator stuff. I really like trains. That was my love before racing, and I've still maintained that. And uh, also my commentary stuff. The majority of what I do now is sim racing commentary. I mainly do stuff for SimSpeed TV, but I'm also on the Precision Racing League Monday night broadcasts for Race Spot TV in this coming season. And I do occasional stuff with Global Sim Racing Channel as well. Currently, doing the NZ Esports Hyperfiber League for a completely different broadcaster yet again. That's going to be every week for the next 3 weeks. We only just did the first round of the finals on Thursday. Quality field, great racing. And they're competing for some great prizes. Some of New Zealand's best sim racers.
Glad to hear you're getting plenty of work. Um, all right, now time to see if I can think of any other questions to. Um,
I'm happy to talk commentary if you want to do that.
how did you start with commentary?
Well, I when I first got into iRacing, I think this goes quite a long way back. Um, so there was this V8 Supercars League on Race '07, I believe. No, actually, it was before that. I was friended by this random guy on Steam who raced with a little group called In the Red, and they held events on Race '07. They were Australian. It was a very small group, and we had some fun. Um, and then through that, I met Corey Slade, who was working on a sim store, Extreme Sim Gear, and he said, "Hey, you want to join up with me? You're pretty fast, and you're a good guy, and we're looking to enter in some championships and stuff like that." So I became a part of XSG Motorsport, and one of the other guys racing for XSG was Jay Kennedy, who is now the owner and broadcaster, main broadcast director of SimSpeed. He started SimSpeed as V8s Online in 2011, I believe, and that was around about the time that Corey got me into iRacing. So we were all teammates. We were all doing our thing together. And things change over the years. People fade away and come back, and we change teams and whatever else. But Jay and I have remained really close over the years. Initially, when I think it was about 2012, 2013, or something like that. Corey and Sebastian Murray Westberg, who is Mortified 666 on Twitch. I've done a lot of stuff with him over the years. He was doing work for V8s Online at that time, and we were broadcasting this league that it was in the Legends cars on iRacing, and the prize was a test in a real Aussie racing car, which is our sort of equivalent of Legends cars. And they invited me on to, like, hey, you want to give this commentary thing a go? And I was like, oh, I don't know. But eventually I said yes. I was pretty terrible for my first broadcast, but they wanted me back. I kept doing it. Eventually, I transitioned into being the pit reporter, so to speak, for the official Monday night V8 Supercars broadcasts on iRacing. So I started working with Jay and Stephen Sandman Clark, who's one of the best commentators in our part of the world. And I didn't do a very good job of that either. But eventually, there was this one race. It was V8 Scops at Donington Park in 2014. I was still in the pit reporter role for that, and all of the other commentators, they had internet connection issues as soon as the race was about to get started. And so Seb, behind the scenes, was like, hey, Reese, I think you're going to have to carry this for the first couple of laps until they get back. And I just jumped into it. And as I was calling the action, I realized, holy shit, I could do this. And, things just kept going from there.
Yeah, that realization that things are clicking into place is always so satisfying.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that I think that was sort of the defining moment of, I can actually be a commentator, I can be a broadcaster, and I ended up going back to uni for it, and sort of leveraging my skills to get into what I'm doing now. I'm still doing stuff for SimSpeed. Also RaceSpot, GSRC. I'm doing production work behind the scenes for iRacing as well. I've been on a couple of official iRacing broadcasts too. So yeah, it's led to some fantastic things for me.
what's your finest hour as a commentator?
Ah, I don't think I can really think of one.
Well, that's
It's
perfectly fair.
yeah, it's all the same to me. I do my job, and it's the best job that I can do at any given time. So I'm very happy with how things are going there at the moment.
I'm very glad to hear that. Um, all right. If I'm not an idiot and I remember, I'll put all the links you mentioned earlier in the description. I'll ask you for them. Uh,
Yes.
um, and I believe I don't have anything else to ask. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
As far as everything goes, I think I've shared just about everything I can. But just to reiterate, I'm always working on new YouTube content. the Southpaw Racer YouTube channel is not dead, though it may seem like that from time to time. And yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing more.
The wait is worth it. I know it is. Um, Thank you very much for accepting my invitation and taking the time, especially since you had to wake up so early to be here. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me.
And to anyone that listened all the way to this point, thank you for listening. And have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is. And see you in the next episode. Goodbye, y'all.